In our quest to cover all the Koopalings, we have arrived at Morton, the toughest of them all. But what happened to him throughout the years? How did he change in terms of looks, story, game design and use? Well, let's find out. Morton stands out because of his primarily darker skin correlation and his white head with a star painted on the left side. He's a bit like Kung Fu Panda, black, white and Asian in the sense that they created him, the ultimate being. Morton Koopa Jr. is named after famed talk show host and singer-songwriter Morton Downey Jr. This is the reason for the Jr. at the end of his name, which was a point of confusion when he was first introduced as one of Bowser's children. No in-universe explanation of his name was provided at the time, though the editors of the magazine Nintendo Power once claimed that when they asked Bowser why Morton Koopa was called Jr., he denied having any sons, then pelted them with bombs until they left, which is a bit rude. So he was named this way to reference Morton Downey Jr. Almost all the Koopalings' names were inspired by names of famous people. Now Morton, just like all the other Koopalings, was first seen in Super Mario Bros. 3, where he and the others aided their father in an attempt to take over the Mushroom World. However, Morton apparently pays a bit more attention to what happens around him and is a bit smarter. At some point, Morton discovered that Mario was capable of accessing transformations, which meant Mario might prove to be a challenge, and likewise reported the discovery to Bowser. This was originally shown in the manual of the game. In Super Mario Bros. 3, he usurped the Kingdom of Desertland and took over, but Mario ends up defeating him and reverses it all. Now for his boss fight. Is this any good? Well, he uses the same tactics as Larry, but Morton uses his wand more. The spells can be a bit annoying and challenging. However, just like all the other Koopalings, he gets stuck in the arena a lot. The uneven terrain is a huge obstacle for Morton. Back then, the programming of the enemies wasn't as good as today. It's not smart enough to jump over it immediately. Because of this, you can easily exploit this and take him out in a matter of seconds. I'm not a big fan of the boss battles in Super Mario Bros. 3. Most of them are just too simplistic and just copy-pasted from other fights. However, like I mentioned in other videos, this game was made at the end of the life cycle of the NES, so they were quite limited since the console wasn't that powerful. So I can't really blame them. For the time period, the fights weren't that bad. The only thing they could have changed was the arena. Now luckily enough, Morton and the gang return in Super Mario World, and Morton's artwork looks, interesting. He turns more and more into Kung Fu Panda with every game. Just look at him go! Now they try to take over Dinosaur Land, and his castle is located in the second area, the Donut Plains. Morton's tactics have completely changed, and are actually quite creative, interesting, fun, and well designed. He climbs the walls and the ceiling of his room and drops down on you, and you need to hit him with fireballs or stomp him 3 times. When he falls from above like a ninja, he is blazingly fast, so if you're not careful, he can actually hit you. The best tactic, but also the most risky one, is walking underneath him so that he drops down so you can jump on him right after. Overall, the fight became more difficult. Still, it's not at an insane level, but it's more dynamic now and less linear. Besides this, his design is different from the previous game and a bit all over the place. His battle sprites use the green palette intended for the green Koopa Troopas and other lesser enemies, while his Castrol sprite uses the teal palette applied to the Buzzy Beetle's in-game sprites. So I'm not really sure what went wrong here, but he has 3 different versions: his battle, Castrol, and artwork design. After this, the Koopalings all disappeared since Nintendo started working on a lot of 3D Mario games, and the Koopalings were never seen in these. So after Nintendo was finally done with the 3D Mario games like Super Mario 64, Galaxy and Sunshine, they wanted to revive the 2D formula and Koopalings once again. They created the new Super Mario Bros. Series for this that started in 2006 and was the first side-scrolling platformer in the Mario series in 13.5 years. But the first time the Koopalings were seen was in New Super Mario Bros Wii, where they are yet again bosses, and you fight them 2 times. First, Morton is fought in World 6 in his tower on a platform with the ends of each side slightly raised up, set in a sea of lava. His main method of attack is shooting pink energy blasts that can be targeted in any direction. He can also do a ground pound, which is a move similar to that of Roy Koopa or a Sledge Bro, that will stun anybody who's on the ground. In the arena, skewers will come down from above and land on the 2 raised platforms, damaging anyone that they hit. Now the design of this boss fight is actually pretty clever. Normally, when you stomp on a Koopaling, they spin around in their shell, and of course you have to dodge them. But in this level, you have 2 safe spaces, but you are forced to abandon those from time to time because of the skewers. This means you have to run into a danger zone because Morton is either spinning around there or firing magic blasts. So you're consistently taking risks, and you need to pay attention or you will get hit. Overall, a good concept and also a fun one. Now in his second fight in the castle, Kamek flies in and sprinkles magic, which changes something. Morton's ground pound causes the platforms on either side of him to rise up and hit the ceiling, and he will try to take out Mario with this. A really creative and cool mechanic. However, there's one huge problem with it. That completely ruins it. Morton is way too slow. You can easily stomp him before he has the chance to use this cool move. If he was faster or couldn't be hit for a short amount of time after being attacked, then he could actually use it, but that's not the case. As long as you run up to him as soon as he gets up, then you have more than enough time to stomp him again. Do this 3 times and there you go, boss fight over. You have seen this new tactic literally once, when he showed it off at the beginning. So a cool idea, but they could have worked on the execution. It makes me sad, to be honest, since the idea is so good. However, the Koopaling clan also returns in the second New Super Mario Bros for the 3DS. And here, he's yet again a boss. They're always that. He will create spiked balls using his wand during the battle, and use ground pounds to stun all players that are on the floor. Every time he is hit, he will spin in his shell off screen and drop down from a pipe and ground pound. Only problem with this is the fact that Morton drops down at the exact same spot every time, so he is very predictable. Now the reason why he uses a pipe to get back up is because of the layout of the platforms, which is the main problem. He does the exact same movement every time he is hit, and that's because he needs to get back up again. If they made a flat level and did something more interesting with the pipes, then it could work. But with this platform layout, you can't really do a whole lot. Now the most recent game we saw Morton in was New Super Mario Bros U, yet again as a boss. It's kind of sad that they don't expand a whole lot on their story, since they always have a little introduction and nothing more. In his boss battle, he uses a weapon instead of a magic wand, which is completely new. His weapon of choice is apparently a large hammer that's filled with magic. Because of his ground pound, a pokey shoots up from under him, and he'll use his hammer to knock giant segments of it in the player's way. He can knock segments straight at the player, or knock them in high arcs. Yet again a cool tactic, and the first time he does it, there isn't a problem. However, he's yet again too slow. After the first cycle and getting hit, he spins around and stands up. But right before he can pull up a new pokey, you can hit him. And you have quite a lot of time for this actually. Overall, there are a lot of little mistakes in the fights with Morton that just make the fight less fun. Even if these problems were solved, then the difficulty wouldn't be too high. So I don't know why Nintendo made it this ridiculously easy. I like the ideas they had, but if you're a bit quick, then you can skip these cool and creative attacks every time. So as you can see, Morton had his ups and downs, but in the end, he is still one of the epic Koopalings, which are one of the most popular groups in the Mario franchise. Hello everyone, I'll be going to First Look, a gaming convention in Utrecht, the Netherlands, and I will even do a meetup outside of the event. So if you're close by or going to the event, then follow me on Twitter or Instagram to stay up to date so we can hang out. I even have some cool gifts for the people coming to meet up. The links to my social media and the event are in the description and the comment section. Hey there, thank you for watching. This voiceover wasn't that easy, but I'm glad you watched the video. I hope you have a great day. Lots and loves and kisses from Wily. XOXO, all that jig'em a ship.